and it struggled with for a long time, but I think I understand.
Do you mean
you
struggle with the whole exhibition?
For a long time, yeah. I would make work, but there was a show, and then after that show, I realized that the consideration of the space, the work as an installation, that was extremely important, that there's an installation element that also helps to translate what you're trying to communicate to others, and the certain kind of sensitivity of tweaking that to kind of actually get to that. Not just, oh, does this thing look good, or like, are these all like bangers? It's like, no, like, what is it that you're trying to say? What is the vibe? So like in the last show I did before this I want it to be ominous. Like above all, it has to feel ominous. And then I'll know. Because I'll know when people start saying things to me that talk about their feelings and give me what they're trying to communicate to me from what I'm trying to communicate to them, that actually hit that note. When I heard that, I was like, I did it. I was successful. That was my intent. The intent in this show is to address disaster visually, but the aftermath of disaster and like the fresh air after a disaster, the clarity of after a disaster, and then the opportunity, that weird gap that happens afterwards where you feel like, okay, so what do we do now?
Mm-hmm. That hope could be hope for some. Yeah. But it definitely is. It's definitely, I think it's in the mindset of like, what do I do now? Yeah.
And
simple as that.
Simple as that. But it's
where
forward.
Do I start the cleaning? Or
yeah.
Where do I go?
Where do I move to or whatever? But it's like but it's forward motion, and that life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that and to recognize that, almost 2 years now after the election, that yes, life does go on. Things do change. Things may get bad for some of those people too. Like things will change. So how do you participate if you want to participate? All those things. But I think that the larger theme of what that book was, where that image came out of, and where those images come from the later part of this book, is I was trying to ask myself about utopia. And why don't we really talk about utopia anymore? Or why don't we talk about building anymore the same way? Constructing a reality for ourselves and for each other to live in?
Are we stuck in the disaster?
It's hard to build.
Oh, it's much harder.
And I don't know how many people are trained or taught how to build. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean that also by saying that I don't know how many people believe in themselves enough to build.
Is it build and also nurture?
Nurture,
and to
create,
look after and create, and sort of maintain something.
It was the maintaining part. That's the most annoying part. It's actually, once you've constructed the thing, to actually try to create language or systems or, like I've worked with individuals who've tried to start, groups and committees or boards that had, really amazing intentions. And in their first iteration, they worked really, really well. But one thing I always said to them is that you need to create a charter. You need to create something to maintain the system. Otherwise, you're going to offer that system to someone else and they're not going to love it and they're not going to respect it as much as you did. But if you give them some sense of parameters for how they're supposed to function within that system, you have a better shot of at least having some form of being translated near what you want.
Someone just opened the door. That's fine. Yeah.
People are enjoying the fact that we're talking.
I think that's very good.
But for you, like this thing that you're doing with the podcast,
mm-hmm.
there's a leap. There's a leap, right? And there's a moment where you believe enough in either this or yourself that something can come out of it. It's a creative gesture, right? The duration that you're taking, the time that you're taking to actually make this occur, that is the hope after something. There was something that happened to you or something that you thought of where this needed to fit. I don't know what that was.
Absolutely. No, that's absolutely correct. Of course.
But that's how it comes about.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to move forward. You chose to stand up.
And it's very difficult to know why that occurred at this specific time.
Sometimes.
But I think oftentimes it's because you have people around you. You really need your tribe, but the people around you to make you see something.
Yeah.
Or make you take that leap. Or just have the confidence or whatever it is.
Well, my leap really into the book or into the drawings were like when the cops who murdered Eric Garner got off, and that night after that ruling came out,
I've said this before, and it really did do something to me. And I mean, I've been around for other cops who killed innocent black men. That's pretty common in my lifetime, at least. And I'm sure in several other people's lifetimes before me. It's been very common. It's kind of an American thread. And for why that person, because he was the same height as me, he had the same body type as me, that like I think that's some of the reasoning for it, is just that the idea that you're sitting there, you're minding your own business, and then all of a sudden people come over and they murder you. That's a disaster. And then no one wanting to the state not wanting to do something about that disaster. The cumulative effect of that trauma and what it's going to cause and the ripples of it. So with that ripple or whatever that part of the wake of that event that I caught, I was just like, fuck it. I'm just going to do what I want to do. I'm going to just build the world I want to build. That's how I dealt with that disaster.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so far.
And it became this book.
Yeah.
And it became this exhibition.
Yeah.
That has now traveled.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. All the way to Sweden and Stockholm.
All the way to Sweden and Stockholm.
And here we are.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
I'm grateful.
I'm grateful for that. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.